Oh, well, welcome Founders District. We are here with Daniel Midson-Short. Oh, I'm sorry. Midson-Short. There's going to be a few of these jokes that you only get if you saw the actual international speech contest. Daniel Midson-Short has competed at the semifinals at the International Convention Center in Kuala Lumpur. Now, you had the good fortune or the misfortune, depending on how you look at it, of winning the district contest in a time where the international convention was in Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, I was very lucky. Yeah, the first year ever it was overseas, and the person from overseas got to travel back overseas.
So that was a little bit of an adventure. Let's talk about this adventure of yours. First of all, you won obviously the Founders District contest, and you went to Kuala Lumpur. Now, the speech that I saw in Kuala Lumpur was pretty much exactly the same as you gave it here in Founders District.
Yeah, we didn't change it a lot. That one, I felt it was fairly strong, and I liked the way the audience reacted. So I was confident that that was the right message to go in with. And yeah.
All right. So what did you do after winning the district contest in preparation for the international speech? Was it just a lot more practice?
A lot more practice, and the funny thing is, when you win district, you suddenly think, uh-oh, now I need to write a second speech for the final, which I had a rough idea in my mind of what I was going to do, and that's what everyone starts asking. Have you got a second speech? Are you ready? You go, no, it's 3 months away. So I started really intently working on that one, and I had a couple of coaches I was working with. But the first speech, I gave it to several coaches to look at, and they would nuance little things here and there, but the core message I was getting was, it's a good speech, it's strong. And they kept saying, do you like it? Do you feel good with it? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, keep it as it is and just practice it. And yeah, so there wasn't actually a lot of reworking to do. It was more just practicing and performing it, I suppose.
Now, as you delivered that speech on the stage, how did you feel about it when you saw the other speeches going on?
It's funny because you've practiced that speech so much. By the time you get to that level, it's literally like a performance in a play or something. You know it so well that it just comes out. You can be speaking it and just enjoying it. You're not worried about, what am I going to say next? Is the audience going to laugh here? You kind of, you get a feel for what's already happening. So I went out there, and the morning of the contest I thought, this is the last time I have to actually perform this speech. This is amazing. And I was a bit sad in a way, because it became like your baby, it was your creation, like a musician would create a song or an artist would paint a canvas. It's the same type of thing where this is what I've done, and I was, more than anything, I was excited to share it, and it was a wonderful experience.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the last time you give the
That's
speech,
true.
right?
That's true.
Well, the one that you were working on, did you give that, did you trial out here at some clubs around here?
A lot, yeah. I probably went to maybe 20 clubs, I think, to practice that, actually perform it, and then spent weeks practicing at home. I hired a big stage to actually practice on as well, so I could get the sense of the room space and the staging. Yeah, that one I probably practiced, I don't know, maybe 100 times outside of actually performing it, and then performing it in front of audiences was another 20, probably.
All right.
Yeah.
So who got to see it? What clubs did you go to?
Oh, goodness. I went to, let's see, Saddleback, Sunrise, OC Toasters, Possibilities Unlimited. You're going to test me now. Smedley.
Yeah, well, I was hearing the rumors going around. Well, did you see Daniel's new speech?
Yeah. And it's funny because when you write a speech normally for a club, you think, especially if you've done a few speeches, you think, oh, I'll see how this goes, it'll be fine, and you're kind of relaxed about it. But when you write it knowing it's going to be possibly for the final stage of the World Championships, there's all this pressure suddenly to make it this amazing speech already. And so all the audience members are sitting there kind of really studying it and making notes for you intensely. It's a different type of presentation that you're giving, almost like you're being assessed really intensely every time.
Right.
Yeah.
So now who helped you with this new speech?
I had two coaches who I worked with, two world champions. One was David Brooks. He really helped me with the writing. He's the 1990 champion. And so we worked mostly on writing and structuring. And I learned a lot actually this year about how to write a speech, how to omit things that you think are great, but they don't lead to the message, and make it succinct, say what you need to say in less words. That was something that's a challenge. And so I worked intensely with him, and then I also went to a couple of Darren LaCroix's training camps, and that was great for staging and stage presence and all the different things like that. Patricia Fripp was there as well. She's excellent at projection and presence on stage. So
we're going to see her at the next Founders.
Yeah, that'll be great. So they were the two kind of champion coaches, but then I also had another core team from my club's second stage where I had Bill Brown, Mila Diamond, David Moore and Leonard Simchek. They were kind of my four other coaches who would really batter me into shape and tell me to practice more and do it this way. And especially Bill with his great vocal variety, he would say, try this and say this. But it had to be your own, but he would always give me tips and techniques.
Yeah. Now, Leonard Simchek has been around since the beginning. I remember the first time you won was the Tall Tales Conference.
Yes. Humorous, 2012.
Was it humorous?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You had the Australian speech there.
yeah, that speech just got more and more out of hand.
So you pretty much came out of nowhere in 2012.
Right.
And you won that humorous contest at the district. And I think, how many speeches had you done at that time?
I don't know, maybe 10? I don't know. Actual fresh speeches, I'd probably...
In your CC manual?
Yeah, I'd probably done... I don't think I was even a CC. I think I was up to speech 7, but I'd done a few. And then that one, I didn't even practice that at clubs, which is funny looking back now from what I did this year. I literally did it at my club and then went through to area, didn't expect to win, and then got through area and then division. And when I got through division, everyone's saying, you're going to the district. And I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew it was a big crowd. And so at home, I just practiced it over and over in my living room. And the day of the contest, it turned out well. So,
So you're getting a pretty good idea of what it takes to win a speech contest.
I guess, well, I'm getting a feel for it, but I wouldn't say I know exactly yet. But
You think you would have done better at the convention if you had done your speech in shorts?
Probably. I don't know. It's tricky.
That's another one you would get if you actually saw the contest.
Exactly. It's tricky because there's a tendency, I think, especially in the international, to use some sort of gimmick or something that sets you apart. And personally for me, I feel like if you're just using that, sometimes it takes away from the message of what you're trying to deliver. And especially with the international, it's more of you want to have something that's heartfelt, that's important to you. And I did think about that when I was going into the contest. I thought, maybe I could do a funny speech and use the Australian thing. And I thought, no, I want to do something that's sincere and actually has an impact on people as well. And so I went without shorts.
Well, I thought that your speech was humorous because we identified, or we could see ourselves in what you were talking about rather than just saying something that was funny.
Yeah, a lot of people, it was funny, as I would practice it in the audiences, I would really watch their reactions, and they're talking about, taking selfies or taking photos of your food or things like that. And I would watch people in the audience all turn to each other and go and point and say, I've seen you do that. And it was kind of nice because it's like you'd caught them out and they would admit to it. So there was this kind of camaraderie in the audience, which was nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What are you thinking about now?
I'd like to compete again next year, but the challenge is always, do you have a speech that you want to give? That's the hardest part, because you can just enter with a speech that you write roughly and see how it goes. But what I learned, I think, from the international contest is it's almost a responsibility you get 7 minutes with a huge crowd. I mean, there were 700 people, 800 people in that room. I want to deliver something of quality that also means something. And so I think my next goal is to become a better writer and be able to write speeches of impact. And then if I have something of worth next year, absolutely, I'll enter again, and I'd love to keep competing until I get there. And that's the best thing you can.
Yeah, well, we'd love to see you there, definitely.
Yeah.
So the district conference is coming up.
Yes.
In just a couple of months. Are you going to be there?
I should be, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Watch all the other contestants?
Yeah, well, there's quite a few people I know who are entering the humorous contest. I'm going to be a contest master for one coming up in a few weeks, and an area contest. So I'll
Are you helping out anybody? Are you mentoring anyone?
A couple of people asked me to, but with humorous it's tricky because I've realised with humorous contests everyone has their own style. So you can't say do it this way or you should say this instead of this, because I think a lot of comedy comes from who you are or the character that you're portraying. And it would be like someone else doing my Australian speech. It wouldn't work because it was my personality and my experiences. So I've coached people, maybe pause a little longer here to get a better laugh, or when you do it, try and position it this way or something. But a lot of the time, they know what to do. It's just having the confidence of encouraging them and saying, go for it. And I guess what you learn as you go through the levels is the bigger the crowd gets, it gets easier to get laughs, because if one person laughs, then everyone starts laughing. Whereas in a smaller group, if you've got 10 people or 5 people or 20, people are more self-conscious to laugh. So I've said to a lot of people competing, look, as you go up, don't worry, it gets easier. It's actually more fun and it's a lot easier. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to talk with us and
Thank you.
Telling us all about your experience. I know there was a lot of people over there at the convention.
There was, yeah. There's probably 10 people from Founders, I think.
And another friend of Founders, Cindy Carpenter, also
Yes,
competed
she did
there.
wonderfully
I think
well.
She did about as well as you did.
She did. She placed third in her semi-final. Yeah, it was great. And her and I, it was a wonderful experience getting to share that journey because we were both half killing ourselves doing so many practice speeches and traveling everywhere, and we'd bump into each other at things and we'd kind of share the common experience. So I appreciated having her along the trip with me. And I have to say, actually, one of the things that I took away from this whole contest was how nice the people are at that level of competition. You would think because there's so much at stake, it's the World Championships, everyone would be serious and no one would be talking, but everyone was really friendly, very supportive. If you placed, everyone's coming up to you and hugging you and saying, that's great, and everyone would support everyone who didn't place, and they'd say, you did great, this was so good. And I thought, it just really shows that character of people in Toastmasters, that even though they didn't win, or we all didn't win, we still were having a great time supporting each other and saying, we'll be back next year. So there's that camaraderie, which I don't know if any other contest you would have that.
Well, that's a great thing about Toastmasters, a great organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for coming again, and we'll see you in the next contest, I believe.
Thank you, and thank you for everything you do. Thanks, Tim.